Hey yo, what's up, Eagles Nation? What's up, Sports Nation? It's your boy Cool Eagle back here with another video. Just want to come talk to you guys because whoa, do we have some news today in the world of Eagles football? As we Eagles fans know, the Eagles have been having a joint practice versus the lowly Cleveland Browns. Now we're going to discuss day 1 and 2 because a lot of other content creators who are not Eagles fans like to say that we focus more on, joint practices rather than preseason games, even though when we did the same thing last year, y'all know the result of it. We ended up in a Super Bowl, even though it didn't go the way we wanted to for various reasons. And even offensive tackle, future Hall of Famer, Lane Johnson, even tells us that joint practices often feel like actual games. The pressure gets harder than actual games, and that's for a good reason. Logically, if you're not a casual football fan, you know that a lot of athletes, a lot of players are trying to keep their jobs, and other players are trying to win jobs. So this is very like high pressure stakes. Like futures and legacies are made at these joint practices. So let's get into like what's been going on thus far. So according to ESP, or as we Eagles fans know him as Elliot Shores Parker, Parks, he's been saying that the Eagles, they did have a lackluster day one, even though, like, how can you really call it a lackluster day one when the practice pretty much in a draw? Like, you had Jalen Hurts doing what Jalen Hurts does, man, like being dangerous from the pocket, being dangerous with his legs. He did take a couple sacks, but again, you have to consider who's on the other side of this offensive line. Myles Garrett, who's probably going to be a future Hall of Famer. Like, don't they still have Jadeveon? Now, again, these like, you have to understand. And then also at the same time, we also know that a lot of the offensive line, like Lane Dickerson, went out with a foot injury. He wasn't in today's practice, day 2. Jason Kelce, day 1, he went to the tent, even though that they said he was okay. And in day 2 today, he really showed why he's a future Hall of Famer and not losing a single step at age 35. So let's give it up to our veterans. So day 2 obviously was a lot better. And let me just go over a few notes with you guys. Now, as I said before, a lot of Eagles fans are really giving high praise and high regard to Jalen Carter, our first round pick out of Georgia. Shout out to the Bulldogs. Thank you for giving us him and Nolan Smith and Jordan Davis. Man, I appreciate these guys' work ethic. I appreciate these guys' IQ on the field, at one of the hardest positions to play in football, defensive lineman. And as I said before in previous videos, the Eagles do look like they're on their way to having another defensive dynasty like we did, in the early 2000s with the likes of Brian Dawkins, Michael Lewis, Corey Price, Douglas, Lito Shepherd, Troy Vincent, like, just to name a few. Like, I think we're having our way with the Browns day 2, and it just further gives Eagles confidence that we are moving into a defensive dynasty. Because let me tell you more about these rookies outside Jalen Carter, because one guy doesn't make a dynasty, obviously. Jalen Carter got plenty of sacks, he's showing more and more. Well, me personally, I don't know about everybody else. And again, like, subscribe to get the content out there. Love doing this with you guys. Jalen Carter is showing more why he is moving towards a generational talent, not like what the Commanders are saying about Chase Young. Not to take anything away from Chase Young, because I did like him at Ohio State, but Jalen Carter, bro, he mowed over. He put Joe Bitonio on his back. Do y'all casuals know who Joe? He is a 2-time All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler. One of the finest offensive linemen that the Cleveland Browns have had in history. outside of Joe Thomas, because we obviously know if you're not a casual who Joe Thomas is. So if you're able to put a man like that on his back, like that's gotta show something. Because Lane Johnson's not being put on his back like that. Jason Kelce's not being put on his back like that. Now, mind you, whoever replaced Lander Dickerson in the lineup due to his foot injury and had to go up against Myles Garrett, hey, you gotta throw that up. Like Myles Garrett is just a beast. He's just a beast. And I don't have his jersey just because, I don't know, for some reason I just don't really, get a defensive lineman jersey. Like the only lineman's jersey I have is Jason Kelce, and that's just for obvious reasons, as you can see. But other notes, Nolan Smith getting tackles and sacks, Sidney Brown looking like Ed Reed, just a hawk on the ball. Everywhere the ball is, you can find Sidney Brown there. And he even says in the interview that he doesn't want to hurt anybody. He just says that he wants to be feared. And if you have the ball, you know what's coming to you. You know what's coming to you. Eli Ricks getting interceptions. So, you have your Troy Vincent and you have your Lito Shepherd right there. So, again, Howie Roseman isn't drafting guys to be, plug and pull kind of guys. He's drafting potential superstars in this league, the new generation of superstars in this league. And we have to begin to appreciate Howie Roseman more and more of what he's done to build a Super Bowl caliber team. Because not a lot of GMs are doing this. The Dallas Cowboys sure aren't doing it. The Washington Commanders sure aren't doing it. The New York Giants say that they're going to be good this year, but they're the New York Giants. So you never know. And I don't believe in Daniel Jones. You got Saquon Barkley, who's being funny with the money. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I mean, you never know what is going to come out of that, the bread and butter of that Giants team, like the run game. So, moving forward, defense looks really good. Again, it's sad to know that that we'll be without Sean Bradley, one of our young premier linebackers, but I believe in the core that we have in Zach Cunningham and Miles Jack, who are said to have done really well in these joint practices. Reed Blankenship. What more can I say about Reed Blankenship? Reed Blankenship has picked off Deshaun Watson 3 times in the past 2 days, man. And we play the Cleveland Browns for our second preseason game. So I'm very excited to see what the effort and work put into these joint practices, the accolades shown to our players, and how it's going to translate into the second game into preseason, where we probably again won't see Jalen Hurts, even though sometimes the starters play, sometimes they'll just keep him out just to avoid injury and all that, right? So moving on the offensive side, Brian Johnson, I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of Brian Johnson. He's very coachable to himself on the field. He allows the offensive linemen to tell him what they are seeing and allow him to make adjustments to put Jalen Hurts in the right position to be successful. You got to appreciate that about Brian Johnson. Hurts and Mariota, first and second team, throwing touchdowns, dots and touchdowns, man. Devontae Smith just looks unguardable. And you even have him getting high praise from the veterans like Darius Slay, saying that he could be potentially the best wide receiver in football. And I believe so. The guy's a Heisman winner. We know what he represents coming out of Alabama. We know what he's done these 2 years already in the NFL, what he's done in the in the biggest of games. We've seen what he's done. But this isn't to take away from Always Open, aka AJ Brown. This is not to take away, because I still feel like he's underrated. I still feel like people don't give them the respect that he's endowed to for what he's done. Like, he's the only receiver in his draft class that's been in a Super Bowl. If I'm wrong, leave it in the comments. But he's the only wide receiver in his draft class that has been to a Super Bowl and came close to winning one. And again, like, we're not going to go too much into Super Bowl, but I'm just saying that the accomplishments of Devontae Smith do not take away from the accomplishments of A.J. Brown. Gainwell, Swift in the running game, I really like what I'm seeing out of them. I think they're the first team, Gainwell, Swift, and then, of course, you got Rashad Penny and probably Boston Scott for the second team, right? But Gainwell, Swift are getting high accolades. Like, just because every time Gainwell gets the ball in the biggest of downs, he's always finding a way to get past the linebackers and get that extra first down to just continue the drive. And a lot of Eagles experts and content creators are even saying that Gainwell is very good in these high pressure situations. Swift, when he gets the ball, bro, if he jukes one person, he's liable to take that ball to the house. Like, just because his speed, his agility, his his ability after contact. And this is what, again, we seen out of DeAndre Swift when he was with the Detroit Lions. So I'm loving what I'm seeing out of this offense, wide receivers, running backs, quarterbacks, offensive line, never really a worry as long as they're healthy. And again, like, you got to be okay with them losing sometimes, considering who they're going up against, against the likes like Myles Garrett and those guys. So I'm curious to hear what you guys think in the comments. I just want to come on right quick and discuss what's been going on at Eagles joint practices from my perspective. And if you guys have additional thoughts, please leave in the comments, leave some love. Love doing this with you guys. And I'll be back later with more content. Y'all have a nice rest of y'all's day. All right. Stay hydrated, stay positive.